رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي واجعل لي وزيرا من أهلي. I was reading Tafim al-Quran and I read a beautiful footnote by Maulana Maududi, and I think it will be very helpful that I share this with you because I think it will help clarify a lot of the misconceptions about slavery in Islam, particularly making female slaves in Islam. So this is chapter 4 verse 24. First I'll read the footnote for you, inshallah. Chapter 4 verse 24, which says, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem, and also forbidden to you are all married women, muhsanat, except those women whom your right hands have come to possess as a result of war. And now to this he puts a very beautiful footnote. Let me read this to you first, which says, women who come as captives of war, leaving their husbands behind in Darul Harb, domain of war, are not prohibited, for their marriage is nullified by virtue of their entry into Darul Islam, domain of Islam. A man may marry such women, and if they happen to be his slave girls, he may have sexual relations with them. There is disagreement, however, among jurists as to what should be done if both husband and wife have taken. If both husband and wife have been taken captive together. Abu Hanifa and the jurists of his school are of the opinion that their marriage should remain intact. Malik and Shafi'i, on the other hand, argue that their matrimonial contract should be rendered void. Now, the clarifications, or let's just say awareness, that is going to come after this is I think it's going to be very useful for Muslims to know these. I think these basic rules in Islam about taking female captives. Many misunderstandings seem to persist about the right to have sexual relations with one's slave girls. It is pertinent to call attention to the following regulations of Islam, and these points are really beautiful, and I think they're important in educating Muslims in general and non-Muslims as well. Number one, Islam does not permit soldiers of the Islamic army to have sexual relations with women they capture in war. Islamic law requires that such women should first be handed over to the government, which then has the right to decide what should be done to them. Look at this. It's not just like you win the war, you just pick them up and have sexual relationships. No, it's not like this. So government, you hand it over to the government, which has the right to decide what should be done with them. It may either set them free unconditionally, release them on payment of ransom. It has the option, exchange them for Muslim prisoners of war held by the enemy, or this option, which is distribute them among the soldiers. A soldier may have sexual relations only with that woman who has been entrusted to him by the government, not everywhere going to all the prisoners. No, the one who's been entrusted to him by the government. Number two, even then, he may not have sexual relations with her until at least one menstrual period has expired. This is in order to establish that she is not already pregnant. If the woman concerned is pregnant, one may not have sexual relations with her until after the birth of her child. Think about the way Islam is treating these people who have come to kill us in such a human way. Then number three, it is not necessary for female captives of war to be people of the book in order that sexual relations with them be permitted. The man to whom such a woman is entrusted has the right to have sexual relations with her regardless of her religious affiliations. Number four, only that person to whom a female captive has been entrusted has the right to have sexual relations with her. Any child, now look at this, how much honor Allah gives human beings, even though they're slaves. Any child born to her will be regarded as the legitimate child of her master and will be entitled to all the rights laid down by the law for one's issue. Moreover, once such a woman has given birth to a child, she may not be sold to anyone. And on the death of her, look at what Islam is teaching us. And on the death of her master, she automatically becomes a free person. Subhanallah. Number five, if the master allows the women to marry someone else. Now look at this. Look at the sex discipline of Islam. If the master allows the women to marry someone else, he ceases to have the right to sexual relations with her. Subhanallah. Sex discipline in Islam. But retains the right to have her serve him in other ways. Number six, although the law has fixed the maximum number of wives at 4, it has set no limit with regard to slave girls. The law does not lay down a limit in order to encourage people to accumulate huge armies of slave girls and thereby turn their homes into dens of sexual enjoyment. Rather, the law does not define the limit because the effects of war and the total number of female captives that would have to be disposed of after a certain war are unpredictable. Number 7, In the same way as other rights of property are transferable, so are the proprietary rights regarding the captives of war that have been legally trusted to a man by the state. Number 8. Since the regular conferment of property rights is as legal an act as that of marriage, there is no basis for a person who feels no revulsion towards the idea of marriage to feel revulsion towards the idea of having sexual relations with a slave girl duly entrusted to him. And number 9, if a government confers proprietary rights to a man over a female captive of war, it forfeits the right to withdraw those rights, in the same way as the guardian wali of a woman ceases to have the right to withdraw his agreement to the marriage proposal after the marriage has been contracted. And this is the last point, I think. Number 10, if a military commander permitted his soldiers to temporarily, now look at the sex discipline of Islam. If a military commander permitted his soldiers to temporarily use female captives as objects of sexual desire and distributed them among the soldiers for that purpose, such an act would be considered unlawful by Islamic law. It reminds me of something like going into prostitution or having like a temporary girlfriend or something like this. Such an act is not essentially different from fornication. Look, it's saying the same thing. It is not essentially different from fornication or adultery. Subhanallah. So I think this is a very beautiful footnote educating us on the rules of female slavery. And let me tell you something. Islam, here, what Islam has done is, it is given, actually I see slavery as a solution to POWs, the prisoners of war. Rather than letting them rot and have a miserable life outside in prisoner camps or in tents outside the city, away from the main urban area, where they don't even have basic facilities, food, sanitation, healthcare, nothing. They have to find their own way, water, food, everything. Instead of letting them rot over there, Islam has given them a respectable way to be distributed inside the Muslim society. Of course, now they're slaves, but that's because they deserve, because they came to attack and kill the Muslims. What do you think? We should welcome them? Please come and take our command. Well, they came to kill us, and I mean, we should have killed them. Of course, we should have killed them. They were coming after our necks, and yet we treated them so respectfully. Although they're slaves, they were deserving that they be killed because they came to kill us. Yet Islam gives them so much honor and respect. Subhanallah, this is a solution to the prisoners of war. Instead of letting them rot in camps, concentration camps, it has respectfully distributed them inside the society, right? Dispersed them inside the society. This is such a beautiful. But let me tell you something else. Slavery in Islam, in general, Islam promotes freeing of slaves. Let me show you from a couple of verses in the Quran. For example, chapter 4, verse 92. If you kill somebody by mistake, what happens? Look, the way Islam is promoting freeing of slaves. It is not for a believer to slay another believer unless by mistake. And he who slain a believer by mistake, his atonement is to set free from bondage a believing person. And if the slain belong to, and then it says, and to pay blood money to his heirs unless they forego it by way of charity. And if the slain belong to a hostile people but was a believer, then the atonement is to set free from bondage a believing person, again set free. And then the slain belong to a non-Muslim people with whom you have a covenant, then the atonement is to pay the blood money to his heirs and to set free from bondage a believing person. Constantly you're promoting freeing of slaves. And then furthermore, chapter 5 verse 89, Allah does not take you to task for the oaths you utter vainly, but He will certainly take you to task for the oaths you have sworn in earnest. The expiation for breaking such oaths is either to feed 10 needy persons with more or less the same food as you are want to give to your families, or to clothe them, or set free from bondage the neck of one man. So promotion, the religion is promoting the freeing of slaves, right? It could have stopped here saying feed them or clothe them. Why did it put the third one, freeing from bondage, right? And then in chapter 58 verse 3, those who declare their wives to be the mothers and therefore thereafter go back on what they have said shall free a slave before they may touch each other. So it's it's as though somebody's finding excuses to free slaves, right? Just freeing slaves. It's promoting the freeing of slaves. And the Quran, look at the virtue it says of freeing. It shows you about freeing slaves. He says, the Quran says in chapter number 90, does he believe that none has seen him? Did we not grant him 2 eyes and a tongue and 2 lips? And did we not show him the 2 high roads of good and evil? But he did not venture to scale the difficult steep. And what do you know what that difficult steep is? It is freeing someone's neck from slavery, or giving food on a day of hunger to an orphan near of kin, or to a destitute lying in dust. And then besides this, he be one of those who believed and enjoined upon one another steadfastness, enjoined upon one another compassion. These are the people of the right hand. SubhanAllah. It promotes, it's encouraging the freeing of someone's neck from slavery. SubhanAllah. This is the beauty of Islam when it comes to slavery, encouraging the freeing of slaves. And SubhanAllah, even in Sahih Bukhari we have a narration number 30, which what does it say? It says, your slaves are your brothers, and Allah has put them under your command. So whoever has a brother under his command should feed him of what he eats and dress him of what he wears. Do not ask them slaves to do things beyond the capacity of power. And if you do so, then help them. SubhanAllah, look at the way Quran and Islam is encouraging the freeing of slaves and the way it's treating them. Even though they came to kill us. We're not going to just dump them into concentration camps. No. SubhanAllah. This is the humanity of Islam. This is what Islam is. This is what really Islam is. Study it instead of just going down the road of I don't want to say those words, ignorant debating without knowledge. Study, look what Islam has actually got to offer. SubhanAllah. So may Allah help us connect with the beautiful teachings of the Quran and Islam. Subhanakallahumma bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.